Spontaneous knowing comes from the fact that we are truly everywhere, always at once. Okay, right? That's divine mind. That's God, of God, by God, pure God. You're just another part of me. There's only you and more you. Let's talk about spontaneous knowing. One of my favorite topics, and one that's kind of blown me away in numerous instances and examples in my life. It has been said of Albert Einstein that he was such a genius that he could figure stuff out, profound, earth-shaking breakthroughs, just by thinking about it. Just by going in thought to where he has never gone before. That doesn't mean going with answers, going without answers, anticipating answers, wondering. Key word for today, wonder. Wondering what might be there. And he'd figure stuff out, like the theory of relativity and gravity and time-space travel and all that stuff. And when I first read that, I was like, wow, he'd just think about stuff and he would be enlightened. And then I was like, wait a minute. I do that. Oh, Mike and Albert Einstein. It's like, no. Fortunately, I'm another voice said, don't get carried away, Mike. Everybody does that. Everybody does that. You do that. We all go from moment to moment throughout our days where we have uncertainty and suddenly there's certainty. Confusion, suddenly there's clarity. Loneliness, and suddenly there's comfort. All in your own mind. All because you chose another perspective. Sometimes you don't even intentionally choose that stuff, but because there was wonder, suddenly, given our inclination, which I always ground my material on, our inclination to heal, to feel better, to be prosperous, we just kind of rise to the surface. And in the next moment, we have that which we were missing earlier, AKA vis-a-vis spontaneous knowing. Now, I thought I would also share with you one of my favorite passages from a book. Some of you already in the forums are talking about Illusions by Richard Bach. I think that's on the Facebook group. And what one of the best books I've ever read in my life that speaks to and hints of not only our power, but illumination and enlightenment. And the same author, Richard Bach, wrote a book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which when it debuted, this teeny little book put Richard Bach on the cover of both Time and People magazine, something that's only happened like 3 or 4 times in history, which is just to say, it really nerve. Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And Jonathan Livingston Seagull is this seagull who values more than squabbling for food with the flock. And the metaphor here is that flight is meant to be synonymous with a higher purpose in life. So the whole story is about a fictional seagull and the flock and him being outcast. But it is so profound. So I'm going to be telling you about a little seagull right now. I'm just going to do a little quote. And it's fictional and it's a seagull. I mean, no, I have not lost my mind. If you read Illusions and you read Jonathan Livingston Seagull, I think you're going to be aware of the profound message interwoven between these two really cool, fun, exciting stories. So Jonathan sees the elder seagull disappear in one location and reappear, a mile away instantaneously. And Jonathan's trying to be a faster seagull. He honors and worships speed when it comes to flying. But Chang, the older, wiser seagull, can literally appear simultaneously any distance away. And Jonathan's like, I want to do that. And so Chang says, forget about faith, Jonathan. You didn't need faith to fly. You needed to understand flying. This is just the same. Now try again. And I'm going to paraphrase, and I'm skipping a lot. And this just makes my heart sing every time I read it. Now, it might not do that for you the first time, but then one day, Jonathan, standing on the shore, closing his eyes, concentrating, remember desire? All in a flash, knew what Chang had been telling him. Why, that's true. I am a perfect unlimited gull. He felt a great shock of joy. Good, said Chang, and there was victory in his voice. Jonathan opened his eyes. He stood alone with the elder on a totally different seashore, trees down to the water's edge, twin yellow suns turning overhead. At last you've got the idea, Chang said, but your control needs a little work. Jonathan was stunned. Where are we? You got to get this book. The point is, this illustrates, and this is written with profound wisdom to help human beings have traction and grow in their own life. The point is that through intense desire and creating a space with intention and expectation that there will be an answer and a solution, you will go from one moment of like not knowing into another of knowing. So that is spontaneous knowing. It's what you could say Albert Einstein would do. Albert Einstein didn't go into those spaces with the answer. He went without the answer, and yet it came. What does this speak to? This is our ability to know all things. Now, you got to work it. You got to recognize it. You got to practice it. And you don't got to. It's easy. Just create space. It's your nature to know all things. And where do we take this? We take it to those areas of our life where we don't have ease, where we don't have peace, where we are feeling frustrated or angry or jealous or resentful or depressed. And we say, what could I see differently? And we will be shown and given, if you will, the answer. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had experiences with this, but I want to relay a couple of experiences with this that I've had to spark your memory so that you can give yourself credit where credit is due for having done the same thing. I recount this story I'm about to share with you in my book, Infinite Possibilities. And it's something that electrifies me now whenever I'm stumped. I'm like, oh, I can fix this. I can figure that out. When I was in college, I was, determined to be a good student, and it wasn't easy for me. So I had this lot of hours every day in the library, all alone, no talking, no such things as cell phones back then or the internet. And I would do my homework, and I always liked math, and was taking calculus. And I'm not trying to say, wow, I really, whatever. Look, calculus is just a step beyond algebra and geometry, just a trigonometry, just a teeny little step. And I like math. And sometimes a calculus equation, which would be, just like a sentence long, a problem, an equation that needed solving would be like a sentence long. It was like another language, and you would have to write out a whole bunch of stuff, one point leading to another, and then there'd be the answer. It was like logic, it was intuition, and many times doing the homework, I wouldn't look at the answers at the back of the book to make myself get it. And I would sit there camped out at a question, and I'd be like, I have no flipping idea of the direction to go that would reveal the answer. But I would not look at the answer in the back of the book. And I would sit there and I would think and I'd want it and I would remember other patterns in earlier equations and nothing. And then I would daydream, not deliberately, just like, ugh. It's like I was squeezing that muscle in my mind with intention and expectation. And then it would drift away. And then I'd be all like, oh, come on, you got to do this. And I'd be like, ugh. It'd be like pumping that muscle. I'd be like, And then invariably, whether it was 5 minutes or 25 minutes, because I was there in that space and I kept returning to it, like, what is it? Suddenly, it would be like, it would just drop into my head, the answer. And I would be like, just like, oh my God. It's like an approach, an angle, a direction in the equation for the solution that I had never gone down before. And suddenly I could see it. It'd be like, and I would always be like, how did that happen? It wasn't there. And then it was there in the span of a single sitting. And this is an example of spontaneous knowing. I've carried it forward as a creative writer. Many of you are artists of one form or another, and you're sitting before a canvas or a blank page, and I'm writing a note from the universe, and I'm just like, I want to feel good about this. I know it's out there. There's as many good notes unwritten as there are stars in the sky. So what is it that I could say this time that's different than before? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. How many times can you say thoughts become things? So I would squeeze that muscle again of intention, desire, expectation, wonder, and nothing. Daydream, angry, come back, expectation, intention. And then it'd be like, I could go here and I could write that. I could cut and copy what I wrote this morning and put it over. It's like, oh my gosh, this would be so funny. And then boom, 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 these ideas rain down. Call it channeling. What is channeling? We've talked about that. We've had a whole mastermind on channeling. It's bringing through information from your higher self or others connected to your higher self that wasn't there before. We do it all the time. I'm doing it now. I don't know where these words are coming from. I don't know what I'm going to say next to complete this sentence, but I will, and I do, and it works. And when you start seeing its presence in your life, how often we go from not knowing to knowing, take it to those challenge areas of your life. Don't feel like, I need more books. I need more this. I need more that. I mean, those things can stoke the fire and those things can expand wonderment. But there also needs to be that time when you go within with wonder, intention, expectation in the space created for a solution. And you will have deliberate, created, spontaneous knowing. I would say in both of these cases, I'd really like to point out, as I often do, because we had a whole talk on what meditation is and how so many people, I think, erroneously teach that meditation done properly means no thoughts, no thinking. Totally don't believe that. Both of these examples, calculus, creative writing, finishing sentences, stuff you do all the time. Look, you don't have to like math or be an artist or a writer to recognize you've done this in your life before. And when you realize it, you can then duplicate it. Neither of my examples came from illumination. Both were illumination. Neither came from illumination where I was sitting lotus style with no thoughts, no thoughts, no thoughts. It's like, you don't have to go there for illumination. And if you don't have to go there for illumination, which is just more truth, a lifting of the veils in a particular venue, then you don't have to go there for enlightenment. You can go there. Meditation is a proven way for enlightenment and clarity and epiphanies. But it's not the only way. You can go there deliberately, playfully, with wonder, and we're going to have an assignment to that effect real shortly. So let's kind of summarize real quickly what spontaneous knowing is. How are we doing this? Spontaneous knowing comes from the fact that we are truly everywhere, always at once. Okay, right? That's divine mind. That's God, of God, by God, pure God. You're just another part of me. There's only you and more you. And right now I'm part of more you and you're part of more me. And if we're everywhere, always at once, but for playing this game, fleetingly believing in the lies of here, there, now, then, have not, the truth is we're really everywhere, always at once. We have a pipeline to all truth. If anyone has ever known it, even if no one has ever known it, if you can think of the question, that means there's an answer nearby. You can have it. You can have it. And this is how people channel. This is how people have brainstorms. This is how they summon that which wasn't there before. And they can summon it with care, with love. I mean, you're not just going to get ideas that are neutral. Remember, we do not live in a neutral, uncaring universe. We're here for greatness. We're pushed on to greatness. So when you want truth and enlightenment, it's going to come to you in such a way that you can grab onto it, totally get it, and use it on your terms in your life. This is like the magic. it's just like everything's here to serve you. So the way spontaneous knowing works is it's our connection with everywhere. It's not even, it's a metaphor for me to say it dropped in, it came to me. It's like I'm already everywhere else. It's just like somehow a window opened, if you will, and I could see what I wasn't seeing earlier. And I didn't even open the window. My desire opened the window. You don't have to know how to open windows, open channels for there to be this occurrence. So we are tuned in everywhere. And I would like to say in my little program today that there are two ways that you can facilitate spontaneous illumination beyond naturally letting it happen as it's so often done in your own life. Two ways to facilitate it and ramp it up. Number one, contemplative thought. Number two, classic meditation. Contemplative thought or classic meditation. Now, the steps within each are almost identical. Get this. Step one, for contemplative thought or meditation, leading you to spontaneous illumination. Because think how juicy this is going to get when you can apply this to the challenges in your life today. We're getting there. Number one, you want desire and expectation. Okay. Basically, a question, a situation, something unresolved that you want solved and that you expect has an answer. And why wouldn't you get it? So desire and expectation for the spontaneous illumination. This all presumes you've got a question, right? Or the question could be like, I don't even know what to ask. I just need clarity. I don't even know what to ask. I just want to feel love. That's fine. So desire and expectation. Step two, under contemplative thought, wonder. Call it intention wonder. I love those two words together. Intention plus wonder. Wonder, what does that mean? That means directed thought. That doesn't mean thoughtless meditation. That means directed thought. So you're going to start wondering, I'd like to feel more worthy. I wonder why I don't feel worthy. I wonder how I could feel more worthy. How do people who feel worthy get there? Maybe it was something in my childhood. Do I have to figure that out? No. If it was something in my childhood, I can patch that over by realizing that I am of God, by God, pure God today. And that whatever happened to me in a child does not necessarily have to infringe at all on my experiences today. I can move forward in my life today understanding I'm worthy because I've received life on earth. I have clarity of thought. I have vision. I have clothes. I have a computer to look at. By wondering, you kind of connect some dots. You go down a path. You put out some fires. You hang some benchmarks. You give yourself a foothold, something to grab onto through wonder, through curiosity. You think, you judge. This serves me. This doesn't serve me. You estimate, you reason, you compare, you rationalize, you invite new ideas, you wonder. This is how I have done most all of the deductive reasoning of my life that has served me so well. So number one, desire, expectation. Number two, for contemplative thought, to get you into spontaneous knowing, is intention, wonder. Intention plus wonder. Number three, optional, create the space. Create the space, sit cross-legged, sit lotus style, go for a walk in the woods with the expectation that during this walk, you're not going to be too distracted by, the dog you're walking or whatever. You can take a dog with you. This is just optional, but kind of create the space. Just think, breathe deeply, inhale, exhale, and then go into it. Journal, create the space, create this. I say it's optional because you can have spontaneous illumination on the fly, walking and living your life, going grocery shopping, whatever. But what's most important is the desire, expectation, the desire to have a solution, the expectation that you will. And are you sure that you expect that it can happen? Yes, you do. Don't be like, well, I don't know if I believe I can have that answer. Of course you can have any answer. You're of God, by God, pure God. So desire followed by wonder, and then optionally create a space. Desire, wonder, create the space. For meditation to have spontaneous illumination. Now, of course, if there's steps, it's not really spontaneous. But what we're doing is we're feeding a situation and creating a scenario so that at some later point, if not in the session, you will go from not knowing to knowing. So that part will be spontaneous, but we're just kind of seeding possibilities. So meditation is going to be desire again, desire plus expectation. And this time, instead of wonder, there's going to be calm, quiet, perhaps wordless, not thoughtless, but thoughts without words, just a feeling, wordless peace. And then optional, create the space. Okay, maybe I'm going to give you a PDF for these steps and some of my reference points. So again, contemplative thought, desire, wonder, create the space. Desire, wonder, create the space. Contemplative thought leading to spontaneous knowing, leading to ecstasy, leading to patterns, leading to more spontaneous ecstasy, leading to enlightenment. Or meditation, desire, quiet, peace, wordless thoughts, create the space. So the only step that's different between contemplative thought and meditation, classic meditation, is step 2, whether you have wonder and you direct the flow and you kind of lightly go around, maybe this, maybe that, I wonder this, I wonder that, versus just peace, just create calm, wordless thought. Both work. And I'm sure you could come up with option 3. Okay, so then why are we doing this? This is kind of the summary of spontaneous knowing. We talked about what is it. We're connected everywhere. Everyone can do it. We've already been doing it. How do we do it? Contemplative thought, meditation. Why would we be going here? The payout is out of this world, okay? Number 1, truth. Truth, what do we say about truth? God being revealed. Total enlightenment, total conscious waking enlightenment. If you can get to a place of 24/7 truth, you are there, which means getting to a place where you're not tricking yourself, you're not angry, you're not being distracted by the illusions and the drama. There's a place for all that. We don't have to, annihilate drama or the illusions, but we have to relegate them and manage them. And by spontaneous knowing, again and again and again, patching up those areas of our life that give us stress, we will be on our way to true enlightenment. And point 2, the payout, the point of enlightenment is ecstasy, peace, ease, faster manifestations, automatic healing of others. You don't have to heal yourself anymore. You're enlightened. The incredible mystical experiences, going everywhere, always at once. Read Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Bits are flying through my head right now. Chang eventually leaves Jonathan because he's like, Jonathan, I've pretty much been everywhere and every when I can imagine. So he's going to go beyond time and space. Can you imagine going everywhere and every when? We can, we will. All right. So hopefully I made it clear. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a goody two-shoes. You don't have to be anything to have these mystical moments, these moments of spontaneous knowing that will breed upon themselves more and more and more. Start now. You can have spontaneous knowing today, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, okay? And then they can build upon themselves. Your challenge this week is work with contemplative thought. Okay, I'm sure you've already tried quiet meditation, okay? And you know how that goes. Even if it goes well for you, I invite you to try contemplative thought, a mix of intention and wonder. And with your contemplative thought, this is what I want you to do. 2 steps. I want you to ask questions in thought or on paper, write it down or think it, formulate a question. And then I want you to wonder. I want you to wonder what the answer is. I want you to wonder why you haven't seen it yet. I want you to wonder all the parameters. Example, your questions might be of a personal nature. Here are some really good types of questions that, number 1, why do I feel resistance over XYZ? What do you feel resistance over? Money, relationships, dating, sex? Okay, stop there. Why do you feel resistance over? Why? And then step two, wonder about it. Could be this, could be that. Don't be thinking it's some deep thing buried in your psyche from 4 lifetimes ago. It's like, your power is in the present moment, not who you were 4 lifetimes ago. And yeah, stuff comes and carries over from other lifetimes. But by recognizing your power in the moment, by lifting the veils that were preventing you from seeing truth, you can do whatever you want, no matter what happened. You might not ever figure out that thing from 4 lifetimes ago or from 4 decades ago. You don't have to. You don't even have to know what your invisible limiting beliefs are to install new ones and blast forward. So those are tangents, some stuff I've talked about in the past in these masterminds. But ask a question, why do I feel the resistance? And don't think it's some complicated, mysterious answer. How can I move beyond the resistance? There's an even better question. So I don't have to explain it. I want to move on. What kind of truths would support me? What evidence in my life already exists? Another example of a personal question. How else might I see my relationship with my partner, my relationship with finances, my relationship with spending, my relationship with earning? How else might I see relationships? Do I have a healthy view of what relationships could be? How else? How could I improve my view on these things? And now you're not saying that you even have a problem. You're kind of inviting higher perspectives. Wording a question can be very powerful, done properly. Which is the ideal path towards blank for mine and everyone's greater good? What am I supposed to learn concerning XYZ, if anything? Why do I feel powerless when I am powerful? I think I've asked all of these questions at some point in my life. You can also ask, instead of just a personal question, sweeping, gigantic questions. Why do bad things happen to good people? That was a question that used to really vex me. It's like, there's just God, there's just love, we're all connected. Why doesn't God stop that crap? And I got the answer, and I've shared it in a number of my books. Why do bad things happen to good people? Go within, wonder. And just to kind of help you, I realized the question I was asking was fatally flawed by wondering about it. The question presumes bad things do happen, bad in a human sense, and they don't. In a spiritual sense, everything is growth and order. Everything is shrouded in love. There's always meaning and improvement. Now, there is ugly stuff that happens, and I get it when somebody says that was a bad thing. But at a deeper level, everything is adding to your growth and glory. So at a deeper level, are there bad things? So on the surface, you can say, life is fair, but circumstances are not. But if you go deeper, all circumstances are fair. It's all okay. We're living in a holographic experience, and we're eternal beings. So the question was fatally flawed. And that's what I got from contemplative thought. What's the question? Wonder more, go deeper, wonder more, go deeper. Some other sweeping questions you could ask. What might I need to master or know? What might I need to move into greater enlightenment? It's kind of personal. What are the logistics of being a streaming manifester? This is something I still wonder about. A streaming manifester. In our nighttime dreams, we just stream it into place. It's just us. The same is true of our waking dream. Right now, I'm just streaming all of this, including over the internet. What are the mechanics? How does that happen? Time is an illusion, but yet I see it. I've got a lot of tangents there, but I'll let you wonder about that. How to take control of a daytime dream, just like a nighttime one now. How can I take control of a daytime dream? If you dream at night and you realize you're dreaming, which has happened for me, I often don't know how to change it because it looks just like this. What a metaphor. So how would you change it? And how can I apply that to the dream of life? How can I change the script mid-dream? Something for you to wonder. I've got some answers, but I'm still chewing on it. What will change in my, What will change in my life once I'm enlightened? That's something fun to wonder about. What can I look forward to? Woo-wee. I have a list a mile long. I love to wonder on that. Think of your relationships, think of the peace, think of the health, think of the rejuvenation, think of the laughter. Wow. Think of traveling to other planets, think of traveling through time, the past and future. What else will change? Well, I look forward to one day powering up my computer and there's a perfectly written book that I don't remember writing. Why not? I'm living a dream. I really mean that.